Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Magdalene interview series. And I'm Melissa Keenan, your host. And I have with me today Dr. Kari Taylor. And we are so excited to come together and speak to you about Magdalene, about somatics, about pleasure, and heaven on earth today. Kari, would you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are and your work in the world?
Sure. My name is Dr. Kari Taylor. I am a licensed psychologist in North Carolina, Black Mountain, Asheville area. And I have been trained in the whole pathology, suffering, helping people get out of pain and struggle. And finally, I set myself free and I'm really here to support people starting a baseline of peace into highest potentials. Like, why are we here? Like, where else can we go once we're really stabilized? So I'm really here supporting healers is my thing that I'm doing. I'm creating this new healing paradigm to support healers.
How beautiful. Thank you so much. And I mean, goodness, you have a lot of experience under your belt that's brought you to this place. And I just want to honor the journey that you've been on. I'm super excited for us to share in this conversation. Friends, if you're watching, please say hi in the comments. We're using StreamYard, and I think we'll be able to see your comments come through, and we can make comments and you can see them come through, because this is streaming across multiple platforms on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, also on Kari's Facebook. So we're just delighted to have you with us today. And a little bit about me. I'm Melissa Keenan. I founded the Heart Open Publishing Enterprise. I've also been an intimacy mentor for the past 8 years. And I'm also an 8-time international and USA Today bestselling author. And I have such a passion for leaders and spiritual leaders and thought leaders, movement makers, impact makers to share their story through published work and turn their message into a movement and turn that movement into a legacy. And I love doing that work in the intersection between intimacy and visibility. So that's a little bit about me. I'm also leading a pilgrimage to the south of France, which is kind of brings us to the topic of our conversation today. This is a Magdalene pleasure pilgrimage. And the entire, embodied principles of why I, said yes to the call to lead this and everything are because of the power of Magdalene and pleasure and the way that it's moved through me. And Kari and I are just getting to know each other. And I can't believe how many aligned principles we've come to in our healing journey. It's so cool. Kari, do you want to start us off and talk a little bit about pleasure and your orientation towards, I use the phrase pleasure as medicine. So we'll say, what's your phrase and how do you orient towards pleasure as a deeper principle in your life?
Yeah, it's essential for healing. People don't get this. When in therapy, they come in and they want to get right into it, and they will get more into it and get sucked into a vortex of more pain and suffering. And the answers in our life are not in the pain and suffering. So to me, the more I can get people out of that, no matter what their situation is. And I know that says it's easier said than done, but it is possible, whatever is going on in one's life, to orient to where is pleasure. And if that's too far of a leap, where is safety and okayness? And when we're there and we can expand that container of safety, something shifts in our nervous system and it awakens more and more. And the more I can receive the pleasure, it really expands our highest potentials of the now moment. Yeah.
Yum, 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 yum. Exactly. That has been my exact experience, and the experience of some of the clients that I've had the opportunity to guide through that journey as they're in pursuit of deeper intimacy is first of all, it is a capacity question. It's like it's like when you go running and you haven't been running in years and you're like, oh, I haven't used these muscles. I've been walking, I've been at the gym, I've been whatever, but these muscles I haven't been using. And I feel like pleasure is that way. It's like it takes learning the language, and your language is unique, and it takes expanding your capacity, and it takes clearing some of the trauma and things like you said to find safety so that we can drop into these like never ending buckets of pleasure that reside in us. And it's so amazing to me that when we operate from that place, how much creativity is amplified, how much magnetism is amplified of like calling in and manifesting exactly what we want. So cool.
Yes.
and I would love to hear, people keep asking me, how is pleasure connected to the Magdalene? I'd love to hear you answer that question, because I feel like a broken record talking about it, and I'm like, I know that somebody else has experienced pleasure medicine through the Magdalene, and I feel like you have some things to say about that.
No, it just started. Well, my friend, you know how things happen innocently? So we were doing our vision board, and she kept seeing the lavender fields of France, and she's like, "I want a picture there." And I'm like, "I'll do that with you." And the next thing you know, we got a bunch of women together who else had that dream in their heart. Like, why not take a picture in the lavender fields of France? And it became, I feel like it was like the Magdalene summoning us into, what are the dreams in your heart?
Mm.
And we got there, and we were right next to her cave where she actually died and lived with the spring waters, and I
Mm.
shared that. But that trip was so fun. Like, being with the right women at the right time and having the most fun I don't even know if you say it that way, but, like, fun activities of relaxation, of enjoying ourselves, of like walking up the steps, and also being with her in that cave, and with the, like, for me, it's also with the waters. To me, the Magdalene also like touches me with the spring waters and the waters, but I see the water as very feminine
Yeah.
in that way. And I didn't know it back then. To me, it was like an innocent trip to just go play with some sisters. But after that, do you know I had like 3 more trips that year? And I was a single mom, and I've never even barely traveled internationally, and, like, last year, there was, like, 4 more, and if you asked me in the beginning of that January if that was even possible in my life, I would have say, "It's impossible." Like, maybe I could do it because it was my 50th birthday. But
Right.
because I feel like me choosing that once and opening up to all of that frequency of fun, it just kept showing up in my life with ease and grace, and nothing even changed in my bank account. Like, I'm still the same. Like, in the same, I'm still okay, and I'm having much more fun.
Oh, that's so beautiful. That's the thing that I've needed to speak to around this pleasure pilgrimage is like it's audacious to have young children in the home and have and say, I'm gonna take time for myself. I'm gonna go to France. Like it's audacious to, be a leader and run a business and say, I'm gonna take a week away and I'm not gonna be available by email, by phone. I'm not available. I'm going to go and pour into me. And it'd be one thing if it was like a work conference, but like, no, we're not doing a work conference. This is a leadership pilgrimage. Absolutely. But we are not conferencing. We don't need more information. We need somatic experiences. We need embodiment of fun and play and pleasure and sacred sights and sacred experience to fill our cup. And when we do that, we come back so full. So I
Yeah.
love that you've been living this principle, and it's so delicious to me. I'm like, yes.
Yes, so I really, like, hope people see the value, because I don't think we do on our things to do list, right? In growing our business or being an effective leader in our communities, like, that pleasure is on the top, but I feel like that is the new paradigm that we're bringing in.
Yeah.
Like, as we each embody this and allow it in our own lives, we allow that for everybody that crosses our path, and this is how we change, like, the systems.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and this it's challenging. Like something that this brings up for me is like awareness that everyone has had different lived experiences, and like it's possible that my access to pleasure has come with more ease than someone who maybe comes from a different background, or comes from a more marginalized background, or a more oppressed lineage. And yet what I know is that today is a time, especially for women, to be able to dig in and access this at a deeper level than we've been able to. Like our ancestors suffered, no matter what background we come from, suffered such great lengths. And if we can access even a modicum, like you said, of creating safety for ourselves and accessing safety for ourselves and strategically building pleasure into our lives, it is going to be better for all involved. And I think that's the flip, right? Like it feels selfish to choose pleasure. Sometimes it feels impossible. We might be in survival mode and it feels impossible to choose pleasure. And nevertheless, I believe pleasure is medicine, as you said. So I think that it's important to, to speak to that, that no matter what our background is, this is something we can choose into.
Yeah. I would love to hear more about that, Melissa, about how you're using this pilgrimage or in your model to be more inclusive, related to diversity and other backgrounds, and how do you link that all together?
It's been a big shift in the past year for me to wake up and really start to face and deconstruct white privilege, and actually take a look at what has my role been in those spaces. And I'm still learning a lot. I think I have a long way to go, especially as it pertains to like spiritual spaces, um, because there's been a real tendency in my past to be the white spiritual guru, and it can cause a lot of harm when we show up in that way, because it negates the lived experience of so many who don't have the same white background. So we've done a lot in our company, in the Heart Open Publishing enterprise, to create more diverse and inclusive spaces, including our partial scholarship program. So every multi-author book that we have has 6 partial scholarships where people from historically marginalized backgrounds can come in at a discounted rate and write with us. Um, and yeah, when it comes to this Magdalene pilgrimage, like we don't even know for sure what ethnicity Mary Magdalene was, but she's painted mostly white. And when we picture her, we picture someone mostly white. And I think that's significant. And it's interesting to me to see how Mary Magdalene has been very sanitized and whitewashed. Not just in the sense of the color of her skin, but in the sense of the the fiery, shadowy, deep power that she brought to the world that has been made completely invisible to us. We just, the majority of the world sees her as this secondary or subservient to Yeshua, when really I think she was a much bigger part of that. And it is things like her sexuality, it is her connection to wealth, her connection to her spiritual gifts, her, it's likely that she was a refugee. So I think that the Magdalene has a message and a resonance with women across the globe. And I hope that, as I cultivate this gathering, it can be a space where, because I'm inviting everyone to show up in their own internal authority. There is not a guru on this pilgrimage, because I don't believe in that. I believe we're each our own inner guru, and that there will be a lot done to cultivate a space where no one is telling anybody else what's right or wrong for them, but everyone is celebrated in coming to what's right for them.
I feel like that's one of my favorite parts about your retreat that I
Mm,
really love. I loved it about pleasure, but I love that, like, I trust in this container that you're gonna meet the exact right people on your path, you're gonna connect to the land, and you're gonna have your own personal experience
Yeah.
with this frequency of the Magdalene. And for me, there's also a sisterhood in the Magdalene who has come to me before, and I didn't know them back then before I knew anything about these things. Like, I was like more of a normal psychologist working all the time as a busy mom, and in my own healing journey, they came and surrounded me and supported me to feel that I was still frozen. There's a part of me that was frozen, and I was still caught in a really old story of, like, an illusion of giving my power away to an old story. And I didn't even have awareness, in my mind's like, "I'll heal anything." I'm like a powerhouse, but something inside me was frozen. And not until I could soften and allow the support of that collective, like, things started to shift in me and crack open. And so I think there is something about getting out of our ordinary lives and walking the land and softening and really saying, "Yes, I receive the support." And then when the pain or the things I would call illusions now, where I gave my power away and would, maybe the humans would say were like horrible things I've been through. I would like, "Here, Magdalene, you guys take care of that." And I trust that the other forces of support that are here in the unseen can support me, and I don't have to be the caregiver and the healer for every horrible thing that's happened on this planet or in my life. Like, I can hand it over, and that has been so freeing, and that we all have our, like, and to me, that's also her message of, like, our own sovereignty, our own choosing.
Mm.
Maybe I was all over the place on that, but
No, that was that lands so deeply. It's so, so beautiful. Kari, thank you. This conversation has been really lovely. I've loved being able to just share in this and connect with you. I'd love, before we close, to hear just a little bit more about what you have coming up, and to share with our listeners, like, where they can connect with you, what kinds of ways that you serve people, so that people can lean in and get to know you better.
oh, thank you. Well, you can message me on Facebook. That might, if people are getting on that channel, but I guess there's other streaming that is coming in. So you can also, Kari at drkaritaylor.com is my email, or you can check me out. My website is drkaritaylor.com. I'm getting it revamped, but I'm really passionate about creating sacred circles for healers. Right now, they're in person, they're going to be on virtual, and creating this new paradigm for healers and really supporting them in awakening for them to move through burnout into feeling more peace in their own body and not in this hamster wheel of life. And then really seeing their clients as also divine beings who are very powerful. And there's something that happens in that magic, and then really supporting the new paradigm of living heaven on earth, living our highest potentials. Like, that's where my focus is these days. Yeah.
Mm. Great. Okay, I've put those links into the chat. And yeah, do give Kari a follow so you can lean into what she's all about. I'm also going to put in the chat the retreat website.
Yeah, and I just wanna invite anybody who is even wobbly, that I just wanna let people know that I trust you, Melissa, in holding this container. I've been watching you for a while. I know some sisters who've worked with you personally, and that what you see is what you get, and that's not always the case with retreat leaders and things, but people have felt really tended and heard in your presence. And so I just I know that this retreat is gonna be profound and probably life-changing, and not life-changing into something new, but a remembering of who we already were, like, really anchoring that in with the earth, and so I just wanna really highly recommend if anyone is considering this, that I feel like this is, like, a perfect opportunity to receive pleasure and delight, and then how that opens in one's own life.
Oh, thank you so much, Kari. That's so generous. And I don't even know who you're talking about or anything. So like all of those comments just like actually caught me totally off guard and out of the blue. I had no idea. It is really important to me to lead spaces with integrity and to go and trust somebody to guide you in a different country for 7 to 8 days is like it's a lot. So, if you are watching and you find yourself, piqued interest, there's a booking link on that landing page. And I would love to have a conversation with you. Like, do have a conversation with me before you enroll. Don't bypass, any nervousness or whatever, so that we can talk about whatever it is and make sure that the retreat really suits you. But Kari, thank you. And thank you for the light that you shine and the work that you've done on the planet. And I'm so excited that we've had this opportunity to connect and share you with my community and with your community as well. And I look forward to more to come. Thanks everyone for watching today on our Magdalene interview series, and keep an eye out for more interviews to come on Mary Magdalene.
Yay, thank you.